Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we've got some really cool Masters of the Universe news to go over. Recently, I was invited out to Mattel headquarters to participate in their 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe Influencer Day. Essentially, they held a small event there at the HQ. We got to tour the facility, which is pretty cool because after all these years, this was my first time ever going to Mattel to see where the toys are made, to see where things happen for all these brands, including Masters of the Universe. And while we were there, they gave us a sneak peek at all kinds of new Masters of the Universe product that is on the way this year and into next year. So this video today is specifically going to cover all of the new reveals that we got at this event. I am going to do several videos throughout the week where we're going to get more detailed about some of the larger reveals from this event, but I want to focus specifically on what all the reveals are for this one. So if you are interested to hear more and see more footage from this event, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you won't miss out on any of those videos. All right. With that out of the way, let's dive right in and check out some of those new toys. So at the very beginning of this entire event, we got to take a small tour, and along the way, we got to stop to see a small display. And within this display of Masters of the Universe products, there were a few new things here that I think is worth mentioning. First of all, we got to see a couple of the figures that we already knew were coming, but in packaging for the first time. At least this was the first time we had seen physical packages for these items. We got to see new Eternia Stratos in package. This, of course, is part of the Masterverse new Eternia line, where it's sort of like modern day updates that pays homage to the history of the characters. So Stratos, we already knew was coming. Now we get to see him here in package. We also got to see Roboto in the Masterverse line as he appears in the Revelation animated series. So in package versions of both of those figures on display. I was also really pleased to see the movie He-Man and Skeletor right there in person. Now, these were fairly new reveals. These were not at San Diego Comic-Con, but Mattel did announce both of them at the MOTU Tuesday events through their social media. So here are the physical pieces. In package, we also got to see the amazing artwork on the back of these deluxe boxes. Fantastic artwork, I believe, by Eamon O'Donoghue. So great stuff there. I'm pretty excited to get these. Also in this room was the Origins King Hiss figure. Now, this one was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, but it was really nice to see a nice, loose model of him on display. And alongside him on the tabletop there were a couple of the new mini-comics as well. So those were some of the brand new mini-comics that will be included with figures like King Hiss and some of the other Snake Men characters going forward in future waves. Probably the biggest reveal that we did not know about that was on this part of the tour is the fact that we are getting two brand new Shogun Warriors. Now, you guys might remember last year, Mattel Creations had an exclusive Skeletor Shogun Warriors figure that was modeled after the vintage Mattel Shogun Warriors, but with a nice Masters of the Universe overlay with Skeletor. So it looks like this November, exclusive to Mattel Creations, we will now be getting He-Man and Faker in the Shogun Warrior style. Prices weren't listed here, but it did say coming November to Mattel Creations, so I assume more details on these brand new Shogun Warriors will be revealed very soon. So one of the things that I thought was very cool as the presentation began is that the design team got up on stage and they kind of walked us through step by step on how they come up with the designs for some of the current figures. Among the things that they showed us were the new Eternia version of Too Bad that's coming out. Now, this is another one that was recently revealed through their Mo Tuesdays social media posts, and this was very cool for them to kind of walk through how they came up with this design, what inspired this design. They talked about how they took some of the different elements from some of the very old concept artwork, which I was very happy to see because if you guys don't remember, I made a whole video about that when it was announced, and I was happy to see that I guessed all that correctly. They also walked us through the packaging design for the Mechaneck and Road Ripper 2-pack, which, by the way, is officially called the Ground Ripper now. It's just a licensing trademark issue for whatever reason, so it's going to be called the Ground Ripper on the packaging. But they did show us the amazing window box. They showed us step-by-step how they came up with the artwork for it, and the actual window box was right there for us to see in person. So really cool stuff. Okay, so this is where we get to our first big topic. Now, this one was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, and at this time, some of these details have been posted online, but this is what everybody's been wanting to know about. Eternia. Eternia is coming to the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line. This massive playset is going to be Mattel's first crowdfunding campaign. So very similar to other crowdfunding campaigns we've seen from other companies. They will be doing this through Mattel Creations, and they revealed to us that the pricing on Eternia will be $550 with a $50 shipping rate for shipping within the US. They will require a minimum of 5,000 backers. That's the threshold that they have to meet to go into production on this thing. Now, this playset is massive. It is huge. It is actually bigger than the vintage one, which is one of those things I wasn't sure of. I remember seeing it at Comic-Con, and eyeballing it, it felt the same to me, but it is bigger than the vintage one. This new one stands 35 inches tall, 47 inches wide, so it's going to take up a ton of real estate. They had this slide that they showed where they showed a 7-inch Masterverse figure alongside it so you can see the scale, and to also show that it's essentially big enough to also fit with your 7-inch action figures. So for any of you Masterverse or Classics fans out there, this is a massive playset that will fit in with those pretty nicely. I don't know if that means that those will fit in the vehicles, like the monorail type thing, but showing it scaled with it is pretty impressive on that slide that they showed us. They went into a lot of details about this, and again, I'm going to do a future video that is specifically about Eternia where I can show you guys everything that they talked about with Eternia. But one of the things I thought was really cool that they mentioned is, since it is such a big playset and it takes up a lot of real estate, one of the things that they thought about with this is for people that want to save space or break it up or display it in different ways, you can separate it just like the vintage one, so all the towers can come apart. But they also designed the monorail track to only be built around the central tower and still function. So you don't have to have the monorail across the entire thing. You can just have it around the central tower and have that displayed on its own. And I thought that was really cool that they went that extra step to do something like that. Okay, so here are the extra details on the crowdfunding campaign. There are some stretch goals and some bonus exclusive figures. First of all is King Grayskull. Now, this is the one we saw at Comic-Con. He is the early bird exclusive, which means if you pre-order in the first week, you will get the Masters of the Universe Origins styled King Grayskull action figure. He is exclusive to this campaign. The only way to get him is to be an early bird backer. So you have to pre-order within the first week to get him. They said that they are going to keep him exclusive to this set. Once you reach 8,000 backers, a new bonus figure will be thrown in the form of the Moat Monster. Now, this is inspired by a monster that was sculpted into the moat in the base on the vintage Eternia playset. So they brought him to life as a fully articulated action figure. So yes, he is articulated. He's a full action figure. So at 8,000 backers, the Moat Monster gets included in the price. You don't pay extra for that. That's just if we get to 8,000 backers, boom, the Moat Monster is now part of this whole thing. And then again, if we get to 10,000 backers, we get an exclusive Keklar the Elder figure. Keklar comes from the UK comics. He is the leader of the Elders. He is a deep cut, but he is one of those characters that has been mentioned by fans in the past when Classics was around. So this is, again, exclusive to this set. If 10,000 backers is reached in the campaign, Keklar gets added to that. Price stays at $550, but now you've got 3 exclusive action figures that also come with it. So there you go. Those are the details on Eternia. The crowdfunding launches October this month and will run for 1 month over at MattelCreations.com. So if this looks like something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. Pick it up, grab it, add it to your collection. We all have to find space to put this thing. Yikes, it's huge. All right, so now we're going to get into some more reveals. After they talked about Eternia, they started bringing out some brand new reveals and kind of unveiling them for us. It was really fun. So let's just go ahead and run down the list really quick. Next up, we get Man-at-Arms as part of the Masterverse line. This is from the Revelation animated series towards the end in the second half. So this is Man-at-Arms with the big giant laser cannon. So he is a deluxe figure because he comes with all of these extra weapon pieces, the big giant laser cannon there. So he will be a deluxe Masterverse figure. Next up, we get Masterverse New Adventures Skeletor. So, Masterverse New Adventures He-Man was just revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. Now we know that we are going to get a Skeletor to position on our shelf with our New Adventures He-Man. He looks really cool, so that's some exciting news right there. Now moving over to Origins, we've got a couple of new exclusives. These next couple figures are Mattel Creations exclusives. And while we were talking about this, we had a chance to do Q&A, and I did ask the question if they are going to do the open pre-orders as the standard from now on. And the answer that was given was that they are going to look at it on a case-by-case basis, essentially. Like they said that they are always going to make sure that people can get the figures if the demand is there for it. So I suppose it's going to be one of those things where they have to decide if this particular figure is in enough demand to warrant the open pre-orders through Mattel Creations. So we will have to wait and see how that plays out with these next couple figures. So the first one that they revealed is Frogmonger. Yes, Frogmonger is the name that is given to this guy. If you don't know who this is, he is one of the Castle Grayskull Dungeon Great creatures. You can see him on the sticker of the Castle Grayskull Dungeon Great on the original Castle Grayskull playset. It's like his head and his arm is one of the monsters kind of coming through. They turned him into a full action figure. I love when they do weird oddball stuff like this. I think he looks incredible and is definitely the type of thing that makes for a good exclusive because it's so weird, but I love it. So Frogmonger is coming to Mattel Creations at some point in the future. The next Mattel Creations exclusive Origins figure they revealed is an interesting one. His name is Skeletor. This is one that the German fans are sure to be excited about. This comes from the German audio plays. If you guys are familiar with Anti-Eternia He-Man, this character comes from that same story because in Anti-Eternia He-Man is a villain. Keldor is the hero. So this is essentially Keldor with the He-Man powers is what we got here. He's just a repaint of He-Man. He's got blue skin, black hair. The colors are very wild and vibrant on this guy. Definitely a deep cut again. And I think to most people, it's just going to look like a funny colored He-Man. But I think this will be exciting for the German fans especially. So another one from Mattel Creations. That's going to bring us to the final Origins reveal as far as action figures go, where they wheeled out Mossman. This one is exciting. I've always loved Mossman, the character. It is worth noting that this is a Walmart exclusive. He is flocked, and he will smell like pine. The reason he is a Walmart exclusive, they did cite the flocking. In fact, this was another question that was brought up, like Grizzlor. That was one of the things I asked about, was like, why was Grizzlor a Mattel Creations exclusive? And we did basically get confirmation that things like flocking and like the fur on the characters is costing out. They're expensive, and that's why they end up having to make these exclusive deals. So that was the answer we were given. So Mossman will be a Walmart exclusive, fully flocked, smells like pine, comes with two heads, so one of them looks very similar to the vintage, although he is kind of smiling and has like a bigger jawline, looks very Filmation-ish. But then the alternate head they gave him is the Lords of Power Beastman head, but it's green. Very interesting. They also included the yellow Beastman armor as a nod to the vintage weapons pack that had that yellow Beastman armor that so many kids always put on their Mossman, right? So I think that was kind of fun too. So at least he's a deluxe figure. He's got lots of parts and accessories. He's flocked. He smells like pine. He's Walmart exclusive. And that brings us to the final reveal of the day. This was what they considered their big reveal. And yeah, we already talked about Eternia, but then they wheeled this bad boy out.
So this will be arriving in fall 2023. This may not represent final version. Like we said, it's still early, we're still working out a few things. But Sam, Zara, do you guys want to
Sure.
show them what's under the cover?
What's under the curtain?
Origins Snake Mountain.
Everybody.
That is right, my friends. Masters of the Universe Origins Snake Mountain is officially coming in fall of 2023. What they showed us was the very first prototype. They had literally gotten this the day before the event, so it was kind of new to them as well. They were still messing with it to make sure everything looked right, but this model looked great. They mentioned some of the things on this will change as they're still trying to figure it out. Like the snake specifically wasn't perfect. It did look a little awkward on there, and they're going to work the snake out still. But there's some really cool features with this that they showed us. Some of the things that I loved are that it includes Skeletor's bone throne, which is fantastic. I love the fold-down moat that is now on the inside, where they also included some of the creatures from the old moat sticker on the vintage toy as actual little creatures sticking out of the moat. And they have the same pegs on them as the waists on Masters of the Universe Origins figures. So they showed us you could pop the creatures off the moat. You can take your figures apart in half at the torso. You can plug their torsos onto it, and it looks like they're sinking into the moat. I just thought that's a really fun play feature. They also reworked the trapdoor with this amazing cage. The cage can now be positioned underneath the trapdoor. That way they actually fall down into a cage and not just like a net that doesn't work like on the vintage toy. And then you can move the cage back down to the dungeon. Really fun stuff. I think the playset looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know a lot of people were calling for Snake Mountain, and it's kind of amazing to see that we're going to get both Eternia and Snake Mountain, which means now I guess we're down to needing the Fright Zone and the Slime Pit, right? So there you go, my friends. There is my rundown of all of the reveals from the Influencer Day event over at Mattel, celebrating the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe. I know that this was a bit of a long-winded video. I intended this to be my short, let's run through all of the reveals, but I talk a lot and I always have a lot of things to say. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, please stay tuned because I want to do a dedicated video just talking about Eternia a little bit more and showing off more of what they told us. I want to do a dedicated video to Snake Mountain as well. And then later on in the week, I will show you guys more of the tour of Mattel that they took us on. I think you guys will enjoy seeing that. Special thanks to Mattel for having me out to the actual headquarters to see this stuff. It was actually a really cool experience, and it was neat kind of seeing all this stuff in person. I'm so glad we get to do this sort of thing again. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time.